you've ever been told you're too much, too loud, too sensitive, too distracted, too stuck in your own head, this channel is for you. My name is Derek. I'm neurodivergent. I also have a neurodivergent kid. And for a long time, neither of us had the words for what was actually going on. So in this first episode, I want to start at the beginning. What does it actually mean when someone says they're neurodivergent? What's ADHD? What's autism? What's OCD? And why do so many of us have more than one? Let's talk about it. The word neurodivergent was coined in the 1990s by a sociologist named Judy Singer, who is herself autistic. The idea was simple. Some brains are wired differently from what society considers the norm. Not broken, not wrong, different. The opposite term, neurotypical, just means a brain that fits closer to that societal norm. Neither is better or worse. They're just different operating systems. Now, here's something I want you to hold on to for this whole channel. Neurodivergence isn't something that happened to you. It's part of how your brain was built from the start. It shows up in how you process information, emotions, sensory input, time, social situations, basically everything. Which means you have been navigating a world that was largely designed for a different kind of brain. And that's exhausting. But it also means the challenges you faced aren't personal failures. They're systems failures. Systems that didn't account for you. Let's break down the big three that we're going to talk about on this channel. First, ADHD, Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder. And honestly, the name does it a disservice. ADHD isn't a lack of attention. It's an inconsistent attention. People with ADHD can hyper-focus for hours on something they're passionate about and completely lose track of time on something that doesn't interest them, no matter how important it is. There are three presentations: inattentive, hyperactive impulsive, and combined. And it looks very different depending on the person. In kids, it often looks like bouncing off the walls. In adults, especially women and people who were late diagnosed, it looks like chronic disorganization, forgetting everything, emotional intensity, and a constant sense of underachieving. ADHD is also about dopamine. The ADHD brain is always hunting for stimulation, novelty, and reward, because those are the things that help regulate it. So that impulsive purchase, that project you started at midnight, the 47 browser tabs, that's not laziness or a lack of willpower. That's your brain trying to self-regulate. Next, autism. And I want to start by dismantling something. The old stereotype, the white kid who loves trains and can't make eye contact, is a tiny slice of what autism actually looks like. Autism is a spectrum, which doesn't mean a sliding scale from a little autistic to very autistic. It means the experience is incredibly diverse. Autism affects how someone processes social information, sensory input, and communication and routine. Autistic people are often deeply empathetic, but the way they express or receive that empathy might look different from what neurotypical people expect. A big piece of autism that doesn't get talked about enough is masking, pretending to be neurotypical in order to fit in. Many autistic people, especially those diagnosed late, have spent decades masking, and it is exhausting in a way that's really hard to explain. We'll do a whole episode on that. Autistic people often have intense interests, strong preferences for routine, and sensory sensitivities to light, sound, texture, and crowds. Those aren't quirks, they're how the nervous system processes the world. And then there's OCD, which might be the most misunderstood of the three. OCD is not about being tidy. It's not a personality trait or a preference. OCD is an anxiety disorder where the brain gets stuck in loops. The thought loop goes something like this. Intrusive thought appears. Brain registers it as a threat. You do something, a ritual, a behavior, a mental check to make the anxiety go away. The relief is temporary. The thought comes back. The cycle repeats. The cruel part of OCD is that the thoughts are often about things the person cares about most: harm, contamination, relationships, religion, identity. And the compulsions, the checking, the counting, the reassurance seeking, don't actually fix the anxiety. They make it stronger. OCD is treatable, particularly with a therapy called ERP, exposure and response prevention. We'll talk a lot more about that in a future episode. Here's something that might surprise you: ADHD, autism, and OCD overlap a lot. It's incredibly common to have more than one. The research shows that up to 50% of autistic people also have ADHD. OCD frequently co occurs in both. Why? Because they all involve differences in how the brain regulates attention, emotion, and the repetitive behavior. The underlying neurology has a lot in common, even if the surface experience looks different. This is one of the reasons diagnosis is so hard, and why so many people go decades without one. Conditions mask each other. Symptoms get chalked up to personality. And for a long time, the diagnostic criteria were built around these conditions present in white boys in childhood. Everyone else got left out. If you're watching this with a late diagnosis, or if you're still figuring out what fits, you're not behind. You're right on time. So here's where we are. Neurodivergent means your brain is wired differently. ADHD is about attention regulation, dopamine, impulsivity. Autism is about processing, social, sensory, emotional. OCD is about intrusive thoughts and the compulsions that try to manage them. None of these are character flaws. None of them mean you're less capable, less valuable, or less worthy of a full life. They mean you need different tools, different understanding, and honestly, a world that's built a little more with you in mind. That's what this channel is for. Every week we're going to go deep on one piece of this. Practical stuff, real talk, and occasionally me sharing what it looks like in my own life. If this resonated with you, subscribe, leave a comment, tell me what you want to hear about, or just tell me you're here. I want to know. I'll see you next week.